Chapter 8, Mishnah 1. As we have learned in Chapter 5, Mishnah 3, and Chapter 6, Mishnah 6, one must be registered on a Pesach offering before it is slaughtered to fulfill his obligation to eat from it. The first four Mishnahs of this chapter discuss the laws of this registration. A person cannot be registered on more than one Pesach offering. The following Mishnah discusses various cases in which two people each registered a third person on their Pesach offering. The Mishnah will teach which, if any, of the registrations is valid. The first case is where a woman's father and husband both register her on their offerings, and she did not state in advance which one she wanted to join. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. When a woman is in her husband's house, i.e. she is married, and her husband registered and slaughtered his Pesach offering on her behalf, and her father also registered her and slaughtered his offering on her behalf, she eats from her husband's offering, because we may assume that a married woman prefers to be registered on her husband's offering over her father's. If, however, she went to spend the first festival after she got married in her father's house, and her father and her husband both registered and slaughtered their Pesach offerings on her behalf, she may eat in whichever place, i.e., from whichever offering she said that she wanted to be registered on before it was slaughtered. However, if she does not say anything at that time, she may not eat from either offering, because in this case it cannot be assumed which offering she preferred. Thus, neither registration is valid, since they both lack her consent. The next case of the Mishnah involves guardians of an orphan. These are people appointed by the father before he died, or the court to manage the affairs of the orphan. In the case of an orphan who has two guardians, and each of the guardians registered the orphan on his Pesach and slaughtered it on his behalf, the orphan may eat in whichever place, i.e. from whichever offering, he wants, even if he does not say anything before the Pesach was slaughtered. This is because the Torah authorizes a guardian to register orphans under his care even without their consent. Thus, either of the guardian's registrations could be valid for the orphan, depending on which one the orphan chooses. The owner of a Canaanite slave has the right to decide which Pesach offering the slave will be registered on, even against the slave's will. The Mishnah discusses the case of a slave jointly owned by two partners, who was registered by his owners on their offerings. In the case of a Canaanite slave who was owned by two partners, and each of the partners registered the slave on his Pesach offering, the slave may not eat from the offering of either of them, because neither registration is valid. Since each owner has rights to only half of the slave, each partner cannot register the half he does not own without the consent of the other partner. Another law regarding a Canaanite slave who has been registered on the Pesach offering of his owner. A person who is half Canaanite slave and half free, whose owner registered him on his Pesach offering, may not eat from his owner's offering, because we assume the owner intended to register only the half that is his slave, not the half that is free. Thus, the slave is not fully registered on the offering and therefore may not eat from it.